The Netherlands is known within Europe as one of the most pro-Israeli countries. And what they have done is that they have barred the entry into the Netherlands of two of the most notorious Israeli ministers. And actually, that is not much, is it? I mean, it's not going to feed the Palestinians, it's not going to stop a war, but for Dutch standards it's quite significant. And so it may also have an impact on other very pro-Palestinian countries in Europe. So if a country like the Netherlands would take that step, maybe we can also, or should also, take a step.
After large protests and public pressure, the Dutch caretaker government has shifted its stance on Israel, more than 20 months into the genocide in Gaza.
The Netherlands is toughening its stance on Israel's war in Gaza, a significant shift for a traditional loyal ally.
The ban was part of a package of diplomatic measures outlined in a letter by the Dutch foreign minister.
Het is heel duidelijk dat wij mee als Nederlands kabinet hier een heel duidelijk signaal geven aan Israël. Het inreisverbod voor 2 Israëlische ministers, alleen nog Slovenië die het al heeft ingesteld in de Europese Unie.
What happened in the Netherlands is that the Dutch intelligence service has said that Israel puts pressure on the public opinion, so as a part of their lobby, but also apparently of fake information. So it's always the self-defense. That argument has been very strong, and it has been copied by a lot of politicians. Also because Israel has always been very well organized in this. So they have already pamphlets are ready, there's the speeches, everything is ready to be taken over by politicians. So that is the lobby side.
Our national coordinator of security and counterterrorism has mentioned Israel as a state actor. So that was a first. And also the fact that Israel has tried, or actually the government has tried to influence the public opinion, politicians and the media with a biased report is serious.
The disinformation side was known among a lot of people, but only became public now through the Dutch intelligence service, where they said it is happening.
"21 months into the genocide, don't you think it's shameful that the European Union and the Netherlands has let this happen?"
There's not been much in foreign news, but we have had ambassadors, and that has never happened. Dutch ambassadors who have written a letter to the Dutch government saying we need to do something. You government, Dutch government, you have to say something to Israel. This cannot stand. And the same thing is that Dutch civil servants working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Every week they have a sit-in, so the pressure has been enormous. I think that the reason for the mounting pressure is mostly what is happening in Gaza, and the other thing I've also noticed with my own students, a lot of them, one of the typical situations of these times is that everything is visible 24/7 non-stop through social media. So more than any other war, everywhere in the world, constantly aware of what is happening. And that has had an enormous shock effect, purely in terms of human misery. So for a long time, the Israeli excuse of self-defense could be upheld, but now that is tilting. That is not credible anymore in terms of what is happening on the ground in Gaza.
What we see in the Netherlands, unfortunately, is that the majority of parliament are die-hard supporters of Israel. And some political parties also are puppets of Netanyahu, or unfortunately.
Als het gaat om het Nederlands beleid voor Israël, wil ik nogmaals benadrukken dat het kabinet hecht aan de veiligheid en bestaansrecht van Israël.
En ik zeg u, tot de laatste snik die ik heb, steun ik de staat Israël.
En ik hoop dat het kabinet de aanpak van jodenhaat heel erg serieus zal oppakken.
Israel is an ally of the Netherlands. You have a lot of power and instruments to use against Israel, and you haven't used them.
The term allies is for NATO allies, but Israel is traditionally a friend of the Netherlands.
We have had, until recently, at least three political parties that were extremely pro-Israel. And now that coalition government has collapsed. And maybe that is the reason that the caretaker government feels more the liberty to give in to the pressure. The nothingness of the government was the main frustration of a lot of people. So now finally something is happening. And so a lot of people are actually hoping that this will be a first step.
In my opinion, the reason why a lot of politicians in parliament support the state of Israel is because they do not care about Palestinian lives, because Palestinian people in majority are Muslims. If the Palestinians were another people, for example, Ukrainian people, the reaction in Dutch politics would have been entirely different.
فتجد المسلمين وغير المسلمين يعيشون كلهم هذه التجربة لا لشيء إلا لأنهم دافعوا عن حقوق الفلسطينيين.
The whole issue of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism and Gaza and the situation of Islam in Europe, it's a very concocted and complicated one. When people are criticizing Israel and they are saying, no, we are Jews and we are also critical of Israel, but don't make this a case of anti-Semitism. And it's the same thing with Muslims. Muslims are very much involved also with Israel, not necessarily because they are Muslim. It's not a religious issue. Very often it has to do with that they come from a region with a colonial past. So they have this for them, Israel is a colonial project. For them, they see it differently than most Europeans. Now, if a Dutch politician who has not this awareness just starts to talk about, is against immigration. Most migrants happen to be Muslim, so anti-Islam and Islamophobia is connected to migration. Now Islamophobia is connected to anti-Semitism, is connected to Gaza, so all kinds of things are being interwoven. It becomes a political game, and that is being played out by politicians who don't really care about Gaza.